Head now to the third period. It's 2-1 for Boston. Taylor Hall is going to score his 13th 3-1 lead for Boston. And then Thomas Nosek scores just 19 seconds later. Boston wins this one 4-2. They're now 24-4-2 and first in the East.
50 points, 6 up on Toronto and New Jersey. Elliot.
Ron, he has been sensational. Sensational Samsonov among goalies who've played at least 10 games. He's got the #1 save percentage in the NHL at .939. It's what people thought of him when he was the first goaltender drafted in 2015, 22nd overall. And when he first began as a member of the Capitals, where he won 52 games, he was above league average as a goaltender, that .913 a good number. But things started to sail a bit, .896 below average. And this was a moment that some Capitals fans will remember. From the 2021 playoffs, he actually came from the reserve list to start that game, but the miscue in overtime, the frustration with Ovechkin, even though they've remained friends, unfortunately, that's kind of the way it went for Samsonov. He was not qualified this past year. The salary would have been in the $3 to $3.5 million range. The Maple Leafs offered him $1.8 million. They said, that's what we have. He took the opportunity, and Ron, so far, he has run with it.
I'm sure you concur, Kelly.
Yeah, I do. And what an amazing turnaround when they let him walk. Before that, nobody even wanted to trade for him, and all of a sudden he's having as good a year in the net as anybody in the National Hockey League. That tells you how strong he is mentally.
Longest shutout streak among goalies in the NHL this year at 152 minutes and 34 seconds. Ovechkin goes for House, Mark, and Stamkos for 500. The Foo Fighters open our festive show, coming up next.
Presentation of Hockey Night in Canada in association with the NHL and Sportsnet.
First, a huge thank you to Dave Grohl, the Foo Fighters. Dave grew up just across the bridge over the Potomac from Washington, D.C. He lived about 12 miles south of the White House. His dad, James, was a journalist and a speechwriter for the GOP, and he's taught his son, Dave, always try and find a word that has punch. Punch is power, son, and did he ever? That's, of course, his cover of Chuck Berry for the holiday season, Hanukkah, tomorrow at nightfall for the ensuing 8 days. You see, we have the Montreal Canadiens in Tampa. We've got Washington and Alex Ovechkin's chase of Gordie Howe versus Toronto, and later tonight, we're on the, it's funny, you think about Punch, the Punch line in Montreal, Punch Ilmack and all those cups in Toronto. Ernie Punch McLean in the lower mainland is excellence. Abakar Kazbekov, the London Knights. It was reported earlier today the 18-year-old succumbed. We don't know too much on that story other than our hearts really go out to the Knights and the hockey family. 32 Thoughts, we'll try to have more for you in the second intermission. It's the same, I think I can say we're of mixed emotions as we celebrate Ovi, and obviously Sergei, his son, this beautiful image of him when the hat trick occurred against the Chicago Blackhawks. Fully understand that we may not be ruled by the best among us, but we try and hope that we're ruled by the best within us, and this was a moment for the Ovechkin family, a gorgeous moment with Slapshot the mascot and mom, and Sergei's 4 years old, seeing his dad get to 800, one shy of the great Gordie Howe. This was 545. Mark, his son, was in the Olympia the night that Gordie got number 545 to become at the time the greatest goal scorer of all time. And that man, a lot like Ovechkin, the right-hand shot and the hulking. I mean, this is absolutely a power forward if ever. They called him the Rod Father, Gordie Howe. Fishing was his other favorite sport, and that photo of him sport fishing might have done more to intimidate opponents than the actual goals he would score. Let's get it to the ring.
They didn't call him that, did they? The Rod Father?
They did, yes. After that photo. Isn't that great?
Fishing.
A real legend. Sean McKenzie, to you in D.C.
Well, Ron, as a referee, I'm sure you've seen plenty of amateur players take to the ice with the yellow laces and the tinted visor. We'll call it the Ovi effect. Alex Ovechkin, one of the most influential hockey players, well, maybe since the great one himself. Gretzky had the jersey tuck. Ovi has the yellow laces and the tinted visor. Gretzky had his office behind the net. Ovi has his office at the top of the circle. He is a sensational goal scorer, but also a physically imposing force, just like Gordie Howe was. And then, of course, there is the signature Ovi yell, something we have now heard and seen 800 times. If we hear that yell tonight, it likely means that history is being made. Now let's send it to David Amber.
All right, Sean, a fantastic night in Washington, a fantastic night here in Montreal, a sellout here in Montreal for their final home game of 2022. First of four meetings against division rival the Tampa Bay Lightning, who are red hot. They come in having won 4 straight games. It's been a great run for them. A big part of that, Steven Stamkos, who sits at 497 goals. Montreal, a different story. 2 straight losses, so a bit of a lineup shuffle for them. Mike Matheson, he's healthy, he's in. Chris Weidman draws out, and Josh Anderson draws up to the top line with the 2 top goal scorers, Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield. So Kirby Dach moves back to the second line tonight, Ron.
Fantastic. David, Jen, why don't you start on Ovechkin?
Well, Ovechkin, for certain elite players, they love to play against certain teams and have a tendency to play really well against them. And Ovechkin against the Leafs, he's been really strong. 41 career goals in 54 career games, averaging .76 goals per game against the Leafs. You know he's going to be fired up tonight, looking to chase and to potentially tie Gordie Howe's 801.
All those goals, Jen, and he's never had a 24-game point streak. Neither is Mitch Marner, because his ended last game at 23 in MSG. But I'm betting there will be a little bit of a sign of relief, because I'm sure it's consumed him as game prep. There's a lot of extra pressure to continue the streak. Things will be a lot looser pregame for Mitch, kind of like our show sometimes, Kel.
When we celebrate failure, you're like 7:03, you can count on it.
Okay, you heard David talking about Steven Stamkos, 3 short of 500. I'm cheering for him. But I think if you think of Stamkos, he'll go down as one of the greatest goal scorers of all time. But that's a disservice to him, because he's a far better player than just a goal scorer.
Hockey night in Canada, what an evening it is. Milestones and, of course, records. Run, Rudolph, run, with those who have a nose for the net. And turn that red light on.
Ovechkin goes for history, but standing in his way, the Leafs and his former teammate Ilya Samsonov. Stories galore as we get you set for puck drop. Chris Cuthbert and Craig Simpson with the call, but first, the national anthems. Enjoy the game, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Washington Capitals and Raytheon Technologies are proud to welcome Ensign Angela Benton from the United States Navy. To Ensign Angela Benson and to all of the men and women serving in our armed forces who are in attendance tonight, we thank you for your service. And now, please welcome Caleb Green as he performs tonight's national anthems.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, through patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
We're in Washington, 8 days before Christmas, and fans rocking the red at the Capitals rink, thinking how great it would be to witness hockey history tonight with the great eight, Alex Ovechkin, on the brink. Capitals and the Maple Leafs on Hockey Night in Canada from the Capital One Arena. Here are the starting goaltenders tonight. Ilya Samsonov making his first visit back to Washington. He leads the NHL in goals against average and save percentage. And at the other end, it will be Charlie Lindgren for the Caps. Had a 5-game win streak snapped with a 2-1 loss Thursday against the Dallas Stars. But all eyes on the Great Eight, and maybe we'll witness history tonight.
Yeah, really a great energy in this building, a Saturday night, and two teams that love to play hard against each other. Should be a fun one to watch.
So the Leafs start with Austin Matthews, Michael Bunting on a 10-game point streak. Out there along with William Nylander, Justin Hall up the boards and knocked off the stick of Ovechkin. Hall will move it to Bunting. And now Nylander just inside the line. It's taken away by Erik Gustafsson. Up ahead for Ovechkin, who scored 24 seconds in Chicago on that night of the hat trick to get to the milestone of 800, but a couple of important milestone still ahead.
Yeah, and you know what? To do it on the road in a really respectful Chicago crowd there, but their game Thursday night, the Caps fans hoping that he would continue and get 801. He got shut out in that game, and here tries to do it here tonight on a Saturday in front of his home crowd.
Icing a call against Washington and a face-off back in the Capital zone.
Yeah, you know, it's the mindset going in. You know he's going to get to the Howe one. I think the Gretzky one is that what everybody's focused on. So in his last 10 games, he's had 5 shots or more in 8 of them. And I think that's what the Leafs got to focus on, taking away his opportunities and just continue to play a good defensive game like they have. You know he's going to shoot the puck. Just got to try to keep him to the outside as much as you can.
Mitch Marner on the ice, looking to start a new streak of his own as Orlov brings the Capitals in and heads after the puck deep in Toronto territory. Connor Timmins is there. It's whipped back to the point and off his skate and out to center. Anthony Mantha for Orlov, who had 8 shots on goal from the point in that loss against Dallas. Milano was not in that game, out with a non-COVID illness, and Orlov's shot blocked. It'll be sent in deep by Nick Jensen. Milano after it.
So you can hear that one from here. From
Marner on the lip. Here's Jensen firing it wide. Passed across again. Early Washington pressure. It'll come to Mantha, swings it in behind the net. Milano watched by Tavares, the centering pass. Puck played to the line, still not out. And that's fronted by Brody. Leafs on their heels on their second shift of the game, and Marner's got it. He'd like to get off, and now we'll play it and get to the bench.
Marner with a great block there, but you could just hear that one from this high up in the booth. Got him right on the top of the foot, and he's got his head down trying to gather himself on the bench.
Here's Timothy Liljegren, who's back in tonight after blocking a shot off his hand on Thursday night. A chance for David Kampf, swooping in, and Engvall unable to find the rebound. Nice dash by Kampf. Alex Kerfoot goes back into his own zone along with Rasmus Sandin, who had a strong game for the Leafs in New York. Alex Kerfoot checked. Back the other way, it's Dylan Strome, one-handing it into the Leaf zone. Here's Strome looking for Ovechkin in front. Pass intercepted, and it'll get cleared by Holmberg. Up ahead it goes, and that shot whistled wide of the net. Justin Hall steps up. He's bodied by Ovechkin along the boards. By the way, Ovechkin, 4th all-time in hits as well. Jack Aston Reese plays it back. Justin Hall ahead. Austin Matthews over the line. Anderson tried to give it back, and that redirect went wide of the net. And now back the other way come the Caps. That's Nick Aube-Kubel. Looked like he'd be scratched for this game. A centering pass, and Nylander got a stick on that, and he races away to center. Here's Nylander over the line. Jensen watching him. Sandin fired, and that went off the leg of Matthews in front. Quick counter, that's a high-octane start to this game in the opening 4 minutes.
Yeah, really good pace, and you get a good example of just transition. Both these teams, as soon as you miss a chance at one end, they're going back the other way, and a couple of good tries in front and a couple of close calls at the Capitals net.
So Sandin to Liljegren, who had x-rays after that game in New York on the hand, had an ice pack on the hand when he left the rink this morning, but back in the lineup after missing the 3rd period at MSG. Marner's back on the ice, that's good news. As it's played down, and Mantha looks for it, taken away there, and Dennis Mulligan works through center. That skips over the stick of Marner, who tries to track it down against Gustafsson. Shoveled around for Mantha. Marner able to come back and take that away at the end of his second shift of the night. Now Engvall. Back in, Pierre Engvall sends it around. Justin Hall advancing again. Closes quickly down low and ties it up there. Engvall trying to work it free against Matt Irwin. Puck along the boards, and it's Kerfoot into the corner for Engvall. He had his share of chances against the Rangers. Engvall continues the battle, and now it's Irwin on the far side. Camp all over him. This third line for the Leafs has been good of late.
That line really has given Sheldon Keefe a lot of confidence, a lot of good offensive plays. Here's the block by Mitch Marner. You know that you're going in, and a 96 mile an hour, you just try to get enough of it, but you can see right on the top of the foot there, and then back the other way. This line has really got a lot of chemistry going. Good delay there by Engvall. Good power move by Camp going hard to the net, and good support coming back by the Capitals defense to clear the rebound away.
Face-off controlled by big Alexei Protas. 6'6" center, number 59. The rookie bringing it in, and that shot deflecting wide. Marcus Johansson on the far side, enveloped by Connor Timmins. Kept in at the line by Jensen, and now Timmins will take over. An outlet for Matthews, and TJ Brodie redline it in. Now ahead comes Connor Sheary over the line with Ovechkin. A pass in front! Oh, and they just missed. Strome had Sheary with an open net. Strome's got it again. Looking for Ovechkin. Sheary rolled it wide. Sheary again! And it's Timmins intercepting. And the Leafs will relieve the pressure. It's just dumped down on Lindgren.
Yeah, good passing play there. So much focus on Ovechkin, but it's Sheary who is open twice. Somehow unable to get that one towards the net. Samsonov able to hold it off.
Sheary had the lone goal for Washington Thursday and comes close to the icebreaker here. Another look as Strome just misses the pass.
The Rapid Recap is brought to you by Tylenol Rapid Release Gel Caps. It was March 20th, 1994, the night that Wayne Gretzky scored 800. Now, it would take a long time for the hockey world to see another player cross that milestone. 10,495 days to be exact. Tuesday, Ovechkin inched one closer to winning 894. Will Ovi get there? Can he get to 900? Guys, lots of questions still surrounding the incredible career of Alex Ovechkin.
Great listening to Mark Howe talk about his dad. I'd forgotten that he broke Rocket Richard's record against the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah, just the reverence that he had for Richard, just like Wayne Gretzky did for Gordie Howe. And then coming into the league, it was Wayne Gretzky who Alex Ovechkin had been chasing this whole time. And it's interesting to see how that chase goes once he gets by Gordie Howe on it.
And the Leafs would be happy for history to repeat itself because Washington's next game is against Detroit. So as far as Leaf fans are concerned, it might be more appropriate to do it against the Red Wings.
And at least it's at home, right?
And that Chicago crowd should be applauded for the way they handled a visiting player hitting a milestone. Here's Kuznetsov on it, and he tests his old friend Ilya Samsonov. As it goes back to the line, John Carlson, Samsonov steers that away. Pontus Holmberg will clear to center.
There's another element too, is Samsonov going against his former teammate. You know, he wants to shut the door and not be a part of history. Pretty good solid start here on the road. You know, the Leafs defensively have just been so solid through November on, and even if breaking the streak in New York, they were good defensively.
Sheary across in front, and that turned aside. Point shot, and that hit a skeet in front. Capitals top line coming close again. It's Dylan Strome along with Connor Sheary and Ovechkin. Gustafsson right on, a rebound left in front. And now the Leafs will work it ahead. Marner for Malgin, who turns back. Here's Dennis Malgin picking his way in. Nice move off the post. He'll feed it back to the line. TJ Brodie across. Chance in front. Oh, Marner missed an open net on the original blast by Timmins. Here's Tavares right on. And Lindgren stops that. Leafs best sequence of this opening period. Marner centers. Malgin can't handle it. It's played back to Brody again. Mitch Marner. 8 goals in 10. Redirected in front. And now it's the Caps on their heels. Trying to clear his Strome. And it does pop over the line and out.
Boy, you think both goaltenders ready for this one. Samsonov, great save at one end, and Liljegren gets challenged, makes a couple at the other.
Now worked ahead. Johansson across. Here's TJ Oshie to work. Long range, and Samsonov stops that and reels it back in. 1 second shy of the 9-minute mark as Ovechkin wants another look.
Yeah, he looks on. It's the forecheck that creates the chance here. Gets some pressure and a hard hit. Sandin makes the hit, makes the play up, but it's turned over, and then good 2 saves. How about this little nifty move just outside the line by Mulligan? Gets off the post there as Liljegren gets a piece of it, and then Mitch Marner just, you know, for him, maybe nightmares if his point streak was still going. A great chance in front, just handcuffed him in on his feet.
Jensen from the point. There's Oshie trying to jam it. Rebound and a couple whacks at it there, but Samsonov hugs the post. Oshie trying to keep it alive. Does to Johansson. Here's TJ Oshie again. Missed 11 earlier this year with an injury. Capitals have been ravaged by injuries. Jensen to the net, and that flipped high. Johansson plays it to the far side. Giordano there for Toronto. Up for Kerfoot at center. Bounced off his stick, and the Capitals will regroup it. Orlov ahead. Aube-Kubel will turn back. He'd love to haunt the Leafs like Jimmy Vesey did in a revenge game on Thursday night. Of course, Aube-Kubel picked up on waivers by the Capitals from Toronto earlier this year. Now it's Bunting playing it down. On that 10-game point streak, Nylander picks it up. Matthews, right on. Rebound, skip past Bunting, who was tied up by Trevor Van Riemsdyk. TVR across to Matt Irwin. Off the glass, and out to center ice. It'll come back to Liljegren. Ahead for Nylander. Now Matthews over the line, spins it towards Bunting. Cut off here by Erik Gustafsson, and he'll play it off the glass and out. End of a shift here as Matthews hands it off to Timmins. And it comes back to Connor Timmins, who said this would be a bucket list moment for him. First time he's gotten to play against Alexander Ovechkin.
He's starting to really find his legs, too. He played 22 minutes plus in New York, his most of his time with the Maple Leafs.
4 assists in the last 2 games for Timmins. Here's Gustafsson holding the zone. A centering pass, scores! Deflected in, and Erik Gustafsson has the icebreaker tonight.
Well, you see his reaction coming down from the point. He hasn't scored one in 32 games, and here just from the side of the net, Milano just throws it to the front, and it gets deflected and right against the side of the net is Samsonov's reaction. He's thinking it's coming up across the crease. You can see how he moved his stick, and instead of coming cross crease, he got deflected against the stick and just somehow popped it up as he was going by. A surprise goaltender and an even more surprise goal scorer, as Gustafsson does a nice job of tight quarters getting that one up and over the foot of Samsonov.
So the shutout streak is over for Ilya Samsonov. 163 minutes, 46 seconds. Leafs haven't had one that long since the mid-70s. Not even longer than Mike Palmateer in the mid-70s. 76-77 when Palmateer went 154-55 without allowing a goal. So the Caps score first tonight. Second straight game, the Leafs have surrendered the opening goal of the game. Tavares chops it over to Giordano. Long lead feed, reaches Marner, and now Morgan stripped of the puck by Orlov. Back in comes Lars Eller. He's checked on the play and looks for a penalty that is not forthcoming. David Camp onto the right side, and Liljegren will swat that in. Engvall after it. Behind the net it goes. Kerfoot trying to get it back to Engvall. Along the boards. Intercepted by Ovechkin, and it comes out to center. There's Liljegren for Engvall, and he'll work it onto the left side. Sandin advancing, centers, Kerfoot, huge stop. Charlie Lindgren with another big save. He's hot early. Now the Leafs will counter another 2-on-1. Engvall, and a rebound, kick past Kerfoot. No wonder Lindgren was the first star a couple of weeks ago. Ovechkin in, centered, and that just knocked wide. What a chance for Strome. Back the other way come the Leafs. Over the line is Brody. Knocked off his stick by Van Riemsdyk. Quite a first period. Charlie Lindgren, the reason this is still 1-0. A blast, scores. It's not 1-0 anymore. The Leafs have tied it.
Well, here's where that line of David Kampf and Engvall and Kerfoot has really changed things for Sheldon Keefe. You've got a matchup against the Ovechkin line, and they get the pressure offensively, almost score twice. What a great save coming across by Lindgren, but a good offensive play. And then you follow it up with another chance earlier on. Now you make a half change. You've got Matthews out there with Nylander, Matthews with the pass, and how about the adjustment of Nylander, just getting back on his back foot, getting down as low as he can to get enough on it. And after two spectacular saves, Lindgren beat to the glove side by Nylander.
Goals come 2 minutes apart. Gustafsson at 11-12. Nylander at 13-12. It's his 18th of the year to lead Toronto. First points in 3 games. It was the first time Nylander had gone back-to-back without a point all season long. Now the Leafs ahead again. It's Nylander again, and he wired that just wide on a pass from Bunting. Marcus Johansson back in for the Capitals. Been a terrific first period, hasn't it?
Yeah, you can't be watching a missed opportunity at one end.
Centered in front, and then skip past Protas.
Because it's going back the other way right away. Seen it time and again. Chances at both ends of both these teams transitioning extremely well.
Under 6 remaining here in the opening period. Shots are 9-8 Capitals. Some grade A chances at either end. In comes Sonny Milano, trying to center it, denied by Liljegren. Austin Matthews and Alex Kerfoot assisting on the goal by Nylander. Here's Aston Reese, and that shot off a leg wide. Bounce back in there by Joey Anderson. Holmberg on the forecheck, trying to tie his man up. There's played out to center. Mantha hands it off. Van Riemsdyk scores! Short side on Samsonov, and the Caps have 2 goals from 2 defensemen.
And this one for Samsonov, he can't believe he overplayed it. This is almost like over-kicking. Here's an opportunity to go up 2-1 as Nylander in alone, tried to go short side. Good arm save there by Lindgren. And then at the other end, this is one that Samsonov has to have. Did it get deflected? Maybe a little bit off of Giordano. Get a better look at it here. Trying to go through. Yep, there's the tip. So there's why he's a little late, thinking it's coming to his body. The adjustment there and underneath the blocker. Unsuspecting goal scorers on the Washington side, as you said, 2 of their defensemen who don't do a lot of scoring have made it a 2-1 game.
4th for Van Riemsdyk. Mantha Milano the assist. 14:48. So 3 goals come in 3 minutes and 36 seconds. Back in come the Leafs. Here's Timmins firing it just wide. Capitals will counter down that right flank. It's played in deep. Marcus Johansson along the end boards. It's centered and knocked away by Tavares. Malkin starts back through center.
Of course, that was one of those deflections where Giordano really didn't even try to get his stick into the way, didn't try to stop the shot from coming, just tried to get in the shooting lane, and instead that little deflection had enough reaction where Samsonov unable to read it quick enough, and it beat him.
Here's Ovechkin fencing for the puck, trying to center it. Giordano on the other side, turned over, in front, Ovechkin! And Samsonov there to shut down the Great Eight.
Ontario. DraftKings Sportsbook has so many ways to get in on the action, like same-game parlays, puck lines, money lines, and more. Download the app and get in on the action.
A little friendly banter between.
Canada's top curlers break the ice in the all-new mixed doubles Super Series. Stream free this weekend on CBC Gem. 4 minutes remaining, an entertaining opening period here at Capital One. Connor Sheary bounced by Hall. Strome looking for a loose puck. Now it's Ovechkin to the point, that shot! And Samsonov out beyond the blue to corral that. Like he had a little trouble making sure he had it.
Yeah, just a little traffic in front. Let's get a sense of what he's seeing. The two bodies, and he loses track of it. You're right. Look at when that shot came. Justin Hall's in the way. Samsonov just trusting his position there, had his glove in a pretty good spot. So he wasn't able to grab it, but felt it and was able to get a hold of the rebound to hold on. That play again, and Ovechkin with 5 hits now at this point continues every chance he gets to try to create something with his body if he's not doing it with his stick.
Face off to the left of Samsonov. And from the draw, the Leafs come up with it. And out is Kemp, ahead for Engvall. Here Engvall sizes it up. Liljegren right on, and the rebound went past Kerfoot. And the Caps work it to center. David Kemp will turn it back in. Doubles the backhand off the end glass to Kerfoot. Another point for Kerfoot in this first period. His offense picks up. And now 8 points in the last 9 games.
Yeah, ironically, as you say, he picks up when he gets on a third line, not the top 2 lines.
Engvall with a steal, swings that off Charlie Lindgren. Matthews in behind the net. Now it's Engvall. Matthews parked in front. Here's Kerfoot, back to Matthews. Deferring there, and now Liljegren fans. Gives it back to 34. Down low it goes. Up top for Liljegren. Rasmus Sandin, Liljegren shooting, right on. Rebound to Matthews, who came into the game, tied for third in shots on goal with Ovechkin. Nylander, the Leaf goal scorer. Leafs on the move in the Washington zone, and that shot just off the target. Sandin knocked down. Along the boards, it's punting, reversing it for Matthews with Nylander. Here's William Nylander behind the net. Brodie up top. Across for Sandin. Extended visit to the Capital Zone. TJ Brodie with the Leafs changing, getting fresh skaters on. Brodie's in deep. Bounced off a check for Van Riemsdyk. Gets it to Matthews. Centered right on. Another nice stop by Lindgren off Nylander.
There's all 5 guys change, and again, it's the Camp line that gets offense. Keeps a line hemmed in. The Leafs change all 5 guys and almost score again like they did the last time that happened.
Back in is Tavares. Trying to hook the backhand pass across. And that was denied. Jensen leaned on. Good forechecking by Mulligan, but, well, let's see. It's a high sticking call upcoming.
If you missed the puck drop at the start of this game, you could still bet live on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Tap in.
Things are changing for Mark, Fox, Richie, and the Critches. Season 2 of Son of a Critch begins January 3rd on CBC, stream free on CBC Gem. Nick Jensen in the box, and we'll see a revamped Toronto power play.
Now, much was made about the practicing with 5 forwards. Michael Bunting jumps in, Sandin out, and here with 1:27, down 1, they go with the 5.
11th ranked in the league, but sputtering for the most part in the last month. 6 for their last 37, and 3 of those came in one game against Calgary last Saturday. So they worked on it in practice at the morning skate, and it looked dangerous. We'll find out if it is dangerous against live opponents. Nylander's got it. Marner's at the point. His shot leaking through. Batted at by Bunting. Kept in by Marner to Nylander. No shortage of firepower, but Nylander's pass broken up. Eller turns him back. Into the final minute of this first period. Leafs looking for an equalizer. They were 1 for 3 in the opening matchup against Washington. Their first win of the season. Here's Matthews, turned back by Van Riemsdyk. Marner up top, can't get it through. Bounce to Matthews, and Johansson after it. Beats Marner to the puck. Trying to cut in. He's got Kuznetsov with him. Marcus Johansson stopped by Samsonov. And there's the danger. Going with 5 forwards. Tavares from long range. And entertaining first period will come to a close.
Well, there's a save there for Samsonov that makes everyone forget about the one that got deflected and went in. It's such a critical time at the end of the period. A bit of a gas power play. Marner doesn't have his legs quite. Johansson with just great patience, and look at the scramblability there of Samsonov moving to his right, closes the 5-hole, shuts the door. Both goaltenders a solid period.
The 2-1 Capitals after 1. Coming up, our first intermission to the point with Ron, Jennifer, Kelly, and Kevin here on a Saturday night in Washington.
To the point in the first intermission of our games in Washington and Montreal this evening. Gordie Howe's 801. That's the chase for Alexander Ovechkin. And, of course, Steven Stamkos needs 3. Yeah, that's great.
What do they call him? Rodzilla?
Yeah.
What do they call him?
Rod Father. The Rod Father. He was fishing, right?
I don't believe that. Yeah. Nobody called him the Rod Father.
Oh,
I like Rodzilla better.
Huge in northern Saskatchewan. How great thou art, though. You know the famous signs when Gordie was doing his thing. Let me just show you him, Ovechkin, before the game. Now, he only played 4.5 minutes, whereas Austin Matthews 7.5 minutes, and Mitch Marner over 7 minutes. But at the anthems, here he is. This is when you have a date with your destiny and you're preparing. Not just once, but 3 times Ovechkin would do this in that first period. And Kevin, you stay out of it. But
well, he's tired. He's tired. That's why he only played 4.5. He's gassed in warm-up.
It does seem likely like he's going to break the record, right? Or Gordie's number anyways.
Well, let's get to the 3 pillars of a presence. Goals, assists, and hits. And it's surprising, but we're going to start with assists for these big guns.
Right, and after he took his deep breaths on the blue line there, he also kissed his stick for a little bit of love. But he's been good in a lot of different ways. You look at the guys that we've been watching in terms of goal scoring, elite status. Here's Ovechkin. He's talking on the bench, too, saying, now, let's figure out some strategy. And for him, he's been really effective in terms of his passing. On the entry, Sherry passes him. Nice look across, a beautiful scoring chance that Sherry just misses. Play continues. Ovechkin's down low as well, continuing to look for guys. And sometimes in this situation, you know the Leafs are going to play him tight in terms of how hungry he is to score a goal. Then we look at the other side. Matthews, what a feed up to Nylander to bury that one. And Matthews might be going a little, perhaps overshadowed, and people wondering if he's not scoring enough. But look at his passing ability. This is one shift. He stays on the ice for 120. This was a long shift for Washington as well. I mean, Matthews had 5 beautiful passes passes, give and go, moving into space, setting people up for success. I mean, coming into tonight, Matthews, through 31 full games of the season, he had 35 points. Last year, he had 37 points. So really 2 points off his pace for last year. So even though he might not be the same goal-scoring pace, really strong offensively and some beautiful playmaking ability.
So coming out of the last lockout, Crosby comes in the league, Ovechkin comes in the league. There's a lot of great young players. So my job as a defenseman is to make that hard. So my theory was be hard on them, be physical, bully them if I can. You know, it doesn't really work when a guy's 245 pounds and he goes on the offensive as he does right here. This is a guy who, he obviously loves to score goals, and we see that, but he also loves to throw big hits, and he doesn't shy away from the physicality. And a lot of times when there is a physical battle between him and a shutdown defenseman, 90% of the time he's getting the better of him. And then him and Samsonov are a nice little moment. Friends, probably speaking Russian to each other. One saying, I'm going to score on you tonight. The other one saying, no, you're not. Only defensemen are scoring on me tonight. But that was an interesting conversation.
But you think about how strong Ovechkin is when you watch him on the ice. Just his stance. Like, he's got that wide base, and he's just ready to pounce, whether it's to deliver a hit or whether it's an offensive opportunity. Perhaps more jump on the offensive zone than he is typically on the back check. But I just feel like physically he's so strong and just got a great stride in terms of that strength and acceleration when he needs it.
He's a unit.
He is. Okay, so when David Amber was all over this story with Ovechkin, I remember a conversation Rick Ball and I had with Barry Trotz in Washington. This is about 7 or 8 years ago, and Barry Trotz called us over and said, Ovechkin's going to break Gretzky's record. And I'm thinking, not a chance. That body, because of the size and how he plays, I'm thinking it's going to break down. I think of guys that played in a similar way, Eric Lindros and Cam Neely, big guys, great scoring touch, but they couldn't do it for that long. That's why I think is what's so unique about Ovechkin. That's crazy to have that sort of longevity when you play that way.
Can I say, though, like, let's not shy away with who Ovechkin is. He's a guy who tries to score goals. And you know, he also throws hits when he doesn't have the but he tries to score goals. He's not defending. He's not behind the play. He's cheating for offense every single shift he's out of there. Not every guy is like that.
I also think, you said he loves to score goals. I mean, that's one thing we can probably all appreciate. His celebrations afterward. I mean, throughout his career, that has been so consistent on his love for scoring those goals.
So that clip, we kind of missed the clip there. That was like a nice example of his commitment to defense. So obviously he's had a great
wasn't
career.
quite there.
Yeah, like he's trying to score goals every shift.
And that's how we talked about in the pregame show about Stamkos and that evolution, how he is a 200-foot player. So we're going to show you a clip in the Montreal game where Stamkos is going to enter the zone. Watch, he wants the pass. So he is thinking offense like Ovechkin, and now all of a sudden he's sort of going to change. He's going to get the redirect in the middle. Now he's going to move back because Perbix, the defenseman, is more in the offensive style. So Stamkos here, this is what he wouldn't have maybe done 8 years ago. Now he understands, okay, I have to be a 200-foot player, and that's the difference between he and Ovechkin.
And winning
I like them both, though, on my team.
Of course you do, Cal, if you had to pick one. But winning a Stanley Cup is hard, but winning 2 and being in 3 finals is even harder. And maybe a little bit of difference there, that commitment to defense. I don't know.
On the way to break, just this date with destiny for Alex Ovechkin. Canadian teams, you watch these 4 highlights of his milestones. They all are against Canadian teams. Goal number 300, James Reimer in Toronto. Andrew Hammond, he got his 500th goal against the Ottawa Senators. Number 600, Connor Hellebuck and the Winnipeg Jets. And the more recent milestone, of course, breaking Gretzky's record for road goals against the Vancouver Canucks. So nothing yet. 4 hits, 1 shot for OV in period 1 in D.C. Had a great game at Montreal. First intermission, here's Cabby.
Thank you so much, Ron McLean. This is the SN Bets Big Board presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Let me give you a live update of the action in Washington. The Capitals lead 2-0. Ilya Samsonov's revenge game against his former team not going so well. Eric Gustafsson scored, and Trevor Van Riemsdyk has scored for the Capitals. William Nylander, beautiful one-timer. His 18th has now pushed that live total to 7.5 goals. Now in Montreal, Tampa Bay leads 2-0 courtesy of Brendan Hagel and Nick Paul. And Nick Paul's 13th goal, Stamkos registered an assist. He now has a goal or an assist in 15 of 16 games. That live total is 5.5. You can get in on the action tonight with the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use that QR code to download the app. Back to you, Ron.
Cheers, Cabby. 19 assists now for Steven Stamkos, again with that theme of goal scorers who have been playmakers on our show this evening. The second period on Hockey Night in Canada next.
Tim, where it's the Caps with a lead over the Maple Leafs as we get you set for the second period. As Alex Ovechkin looking to make history tonight, we are fortunate enough to have him mic'd up. He is as entertaining as he is talented. Take a listen to the sights and sounds of Alex Ovechkin.
You go, baby. Let's go, baby. Come on, baby. I got JoJo. Yeah! Gustavo!
Ovechkin one shot so far tonight as he continues his hunt for 801 goals. Chris Cuthbert and Craig Simpson now with the call of the second. Gentlemen.
Thank you, Sean. The Leafs will start the second period with 33 seconds left on a power play, down by 1.
And Gustavo with his first, Erik Gustafsson, and you know, sitting on the bench, you can always be a part of it. Here, really, 33 seconds and go back to 4 forwards in a defense, does Sheldon Keefe here to start the second period power play.
John Tavares now 0-5 in the faceoff circle. He's got 18 straight games where he's been 50% or better. But now the Leafs get control, and Rasmus Sandin kicks it back for Marner and Matthews. And here's Austin Matthews into the zone. The goal scorer, Nylander, sends it around. It will reach 34. Tried to kick it back to the point. Tavares centers. Nobody there except Lars Eller, and the Capitals return to full strength.
Yeah, Nylander making the change so that Giordano could get out there and get to defense and not get caught. So an outlet that he thought he had went to the bench to make the change.
Here's Engvall sending it on goal and turned aside by Lindgren. Camp, Kerfoot, and Engvall have done the job so far tonight, haven't they?
They really have. They've created a matchup that Keefe has been able to win. They've got 1 goal. They got the power play chance with the penalty after it as well.
Engvall works back in, and a quick shot absorbed by Lindgren.
Download the BetMGM app and play with the king of sportsbooks and casinos.
Well, the 15-game streak came to an end, and it was Sheldon Keefe felt his team played really well defensively. Obviously, it's basically a 2-1 game with an empty netter, but they didn't execute on the opportunities they've had. I think offensively they've executed a little bit better in this game and have had their chances at one end. But the defensive structure to their game has really been what's allowed them to have the success from November on.
Held the Rangers to 20 shots in that loss on Thursday night. There's Van Riemsdyk. Oshie had 4 shots in the first period. Checked by TJ Brody, an outlet for Holmberg, and the Leafs at center. Holmberg tied up by Johansson on the back check. By the way, the Nylander goal stops a streak of 6 consecutive goals by non-core 4 players for the Leafs. The Leafs in the last 4 years have not gone on a streak of 7 straight by non-core 4. It seems like each year there's a run of 6 goals once, but not 7. Nylander breaking that up tonight. Here's Malgin trying to center. Malgin after it again. There is a Swiss reporter in the building doing a feature on Malgin here tonight. And I think Malgin's been noticeable so far.
He has made some plays, hasn't he? You saw the good play just inside the line in the first period, and an opportunity getting back on that line.
Oh, a centering pass, loose in front and knocked away by Liljegren. There's Milano as a pair of assists in the game. Out there again with Mantha and Kuznetsov. And the Leafs come up with it. Marner sends it too far for Malgin. Turning back with it. Here's Milano dropping it off. Kuznetsov across. What a pass! And Gustafsson has his second of the night. Three goals by Cap defenseman. 3-1 Washington.
Well, what a killer goal this is Sonny Milano had the chance earlier on, right at the side of the net. It just kind of overplayed it. Instead of chipping it, he tried to go to the backhand. So you dodge one bullet, but then a turnover in the neutral zone, quick transition, and it's Milano, pulls it to the inside, gets it to the outside, and how about this backhand dish just head up the whole way by Kuznetsov, and a smart play by Gustafsson. And the other side of the ice, he came in the first and was able to tap one home. This time on his strong hand, he comes down the left and pounds that one into a wide open net. What a pass by Kuznetsov to make it possible.
First 2 goals as a Washington Capital for Erik Gustafsson, who scored 17 in his 3rd year in the league for the Chicago Blackhawks. On a night they came to watch Alexander Ovechkin, it's the Blue Liners providing the offense. And the Leafs trail by 2. Garnet Hathaway upending Giordano. Here's a shot off the glove of Samsonov. Bumped ahead, and now the Leafs are out. Hall for Bunting. He'll play it down and chase after it against Orlov, who reverses it to Jensen. Up on the right side, and center ice turned over. Back in comes Kerfoot. Alex Kerfoot, and that's off Jensen, and out of play.
Well, you mentioned the fact that Gustafsson has done it before. In the last little while, goal scoring hasn't been first and foremost. Here's the opportunity to get going the other way. Instead, an errant pass, and this made possible to the outside. 4 Leafs in the middle of the ice. Everybody watching the puck, and on the back door, Marner can't get down there quick enough. There's the little congratulations on the no-look pass. It's just calmness by Kuznetsov there. If you're Samsonov, you're thinking this could go anywhere from the outside, and Gustafsson filled the lane and gave him no chance.
Connor Timmins, a shot that hit a skate in front, went wide of the net, and Van Riemsdyk clears to center. Ovechkin bumped. Here's a steal by Sherry Ovechkin, and off the post. Looked like it glanced off the glove of Samsonov, so the Great Eights had a couple of great A's in this game so far. Back for Kerfoot. The Ovi chance start up. Timmins across for Brody. David Kampf after it. Played to the line. Kept in by Timmins. In front, and that deflected by Kerfoot. Just off target. And now out it comes down into the Leaf zone. It's icing against Washington.
Connor Sheary wanted a penalty there as he felt he got hauled down, and this play by Sheary on the turnover right here. Brody loses control. Here's where Sheary thought there should have been a penalty. Just handcuffs Ovechkin a little bit. Didn't get all of it. That was going to be wide if it had have got towards the net. Nice job of Samsonov at least staying with it, but that quick turnover, and Ovechkin got that one in his feet. Wasn't able to get the shot that he had hoped.
Matthews, a clean face-off win. Sandin tried to give it to Marner. So Marner out there along with Matthews and Tavares. Sheldon Keefe loads it up. Looking to get one, to get within one. It's Matthews to the line. Sandin sends it back in behind the net. Marner there, up against Irwin. Works away from Irwin. Back up top, Liljegren shot. Lindgren able to come up with that off a deflection in front.
The Rogers Wrapped in Red event is on now. Unwrap our biggest deals on mobile plans from $60 a month.
Chris, this is what I've really liked about Sheldon Keefe. You mentioned load up a line like that. Okay, you got a break there. You almost got scored on. Now you get an offensive zone chance, and you put a line that you think might give a spark. You give Matthews an opportunity to maybe get back and work some magic with Marner, with Tavares in the middle. And instead of just standing pat and allowing things to go, I like the fact that you try to make a change in game on one shift.
Oliver skates that, kept in by Holmberg. Now good turnover created there, and a shot on Lindgren. Some nice work on the boards by Aston Reese, and the shot from Anderson.
And another line where you got guys fighting for spots. Is Anderson getting into the lineup? What's he got to do? Get all over the puck. Aston Reese, you're not thinking maybe going to score, but you can be physical, and that physicality turns the puck over, keeps a play alive. And you know, those are the kind of shifts that allow you to stay out here like this instead of making a change. You get another face-off in the offensive zone because you're getting rewarded by your coach.
So Holmberg digs in against Johansson, and from the draw, Capitals away. Oshie up to Jensen. Down that left flank, and Jensen popped up in the rush. Taken to the inboards by Giordano. TJ Oshie's on it. Look for Johansson, unable to connect on that pass. Joey Anderson bumped along the boards, leaps her out. It's Holmberg through center. He'll chip it in. Leaf starting to change behind him. Aston Reese and Holmberg bottling things up deep in Washington territory. Matthews is checked back in. Now out comes Washington. It's Kuznetsov again, cutting to the middle, and Matthews took the puck off his stick. TJ Brodie for Timmins. Great pass, Matthews in, scores! Austin Matthews has his 16th of the year, and the Leafs within one on a great setup by Connor Timmins.
Now, there's been so much talk about maybe not scoring at the pace he was last year. This shift just epitomized what Matthews has been trying to be, a 200-foot player. Comes back defensively. Kuznetsov, dangerous coming across, gets the stick in, turns the puck over, finds himself a little lane. This is a 1-against-4, and look at his reaction even. He can't believe that one went through. Just a quick release through a bunch of sticks. No chance to even make a play anywhere else. But yeah, there's kind of a half slapper, not one of his hardest shots, but the deflection gives the goaltender trouble, and a defensive play in his own end ends up in the back of the net at the other.
So Timmins with 5 assists in his last 3 games. That's goal 275 for Austin Matthews. And by the way, at this juncture of his career, Alex Ovechkin had 10 goals more than 34. So he's at least in the conversation. Going to the net again. Swooping in, playing it back. TJ Brodie holds on. Matthews dancing. Nylander's got it. The other Leaf goal scorer here tonight. Spun around by Mantha. Gets it to Bunting. Michael Bunting shovels it to the corner for Tavares. Pass back for Sandin. Bunting behind the net, can't reach that. Now he'll chop it along the boards, back to Sandin. Rink wide, Liljegren tried to center, denied there by Gustafsson. It comes down for Liljegren to win a battle and get it back behind the Washington net. And it skipped over the stick of Sandin and out. But the Leafs have been energized by the Matthews goal.
You got a long change, so only one player has changed for the Capitals on this pressure. You got to keep the pressure on and try to force a tired mistake.
Knocked off the stick of Ovechkin, trying to leave the zone, and now they're out. Here's Ovechkin with Mantha. Alex Ovechkin, Mantha trying to give it back, and it was too far. Well, you can tell they were looking for 801 right there.
Mantha was part of 800, and there was no way he was shooting that one. Shooting it was the right play, but he didn't do it.
He was the primary assist on the 800th in Chicago. Here's Connor Sheary. Hands it off, a pass for Strome. In front, and swinging a miss by Ovechkin. In front again, Strome, and it's blocked by Sandin. Looked like Strome had an open net.
No stick for Samsonov here as he's lost it and he can't get it. So an opportunity to take advantage for Ovechkin here.
Well, they get the puck to Ovechkin, slide through deep. Ovechkin going to the slot off the glove of Orlov, and now it's Malgin dashing out. Here comes Malgin the other way, and Samsonov out of the net to get his stick. That deflects in front, Kerfoot stopped by Lindgren, and it ricochets out of play. Wild action continues.
What a place to be in for Anthony Mantha. There's the dish across by Ovechkin. The pass, no chance for Ovechkin to get it. And on the doorstep again, can't get the puck. And Sandin with a great save to keep it a 1-goal game.
Everybody agrees one stands out among the ball, actually in his rookie year, against the Coyotes in Arizona. And there's a couple of remarkable other things about that goal. Austin Matthews was in the building as a fan, and he watched Ovechkin. The other remarkable thing you might relate to is it was done after a rookie night. So the fact that Ovechkin was
able to do it
after a rookie night is quite remarkable. But a youngster now playing for the Leafs and has scored against Ovechkin tonight was in the crowd, wowed by that goal. And Matthews back on the ice here as the Capitals work at the center, stopped up by Giordano. Quick counter, here's Giordano in. Shot, stopped by Lindgren, rebound. Knocked wide, Matthews trying to swing it to the net. Justin Hall gives it back, gets it back. Over to Giordano. Diagonal pass and it reaches Nylander, tries to center, and Lindgren's had enough of that shift.
Good push here by the Leafs to try to tie this game up. At the end of the last shift, watch TJ Oshie. He's already missed 13 games this year. Just coming in on a hard back check right there. That's a hip flexor on the right side. He was in severe pain, so he's gone back to the bench on that one. Now turnover. Giordano is trying to get the lane to open up by faking the shot, but look at Gustafsson. So he tries to go 5-hole there, almost snuck it through the wickets there as he had Matthews on his offside waiting to receive that pass. Really good read by Gustafsson to slide down and take away any option for a pass to be made.
Blue Liners thinking offense tonight. They've combined on both teams for 6 points in this game, including all 3 Washington goals. Approaching 10 minutes of the second period. Shots now 20-17 Toronto. The best second period team in the league. Here's John Tavares back in. Curls inside the line, trying to connect with Marner. And puck whistled, or play whistled down. I think a hand pass halts play, and we will step aside. 9:49 to go. Here in the middle frame, a 1-goal game. Looking for a streaming channel that goes beyond the news? CBC News Explore is a news channel for stories that need to be explored. Stream free on CBC Gem. Leafs swept the Caps last year, won the first game, their first win of this new season. But the Capitals with the lead here midway through the second.
You look at Austin Matthews. He was having nothing to do with your question today about being that young kid and watching Alexander Ovechkin. Now, oh wow, there's the physical aspect of Ovechkin again as he puts Timmins into his own bench.
You know, I mentioned Connor Timmins said this was a bucket list moment. I wonder if he thought, if he'll remember that. It's a hot shot by Brody off the glove of Lindgren, but Alex Ovechkin deposited Timmins right in the Washington bench. You hear the chants, but here come the Leafs. Kerfoot right on. Swatted away by Lindgren. Engvall sends it around. Hall advances. Engvall from the corner. Pin there, but Kemp helps out along with Kerfoot. Leafs come away with it. Kerfoot to the front. Can't pull the trigger. And away goes Ovechkin. Hall getting back. And knocks it away from Ovechkin, who looked like he was at the end of a shift. Yeah, he's out of gas, headed off. And here comes Kemp the other way. A solo mission. And checked by Protas and Kuznetsov coming back.
That was asking a lot. That was a minute into a shift after a big hit. And Ovechkin knew he wasn't going to win that foot race. Just tried to wait for someone and nobody able to give the puck away to him.
Leafs bottom 6 has been noticeable tonight. Holmberg, Aston Reese, and Anderson are back out there. And they work it loose. Anderson across. Sandin. Lindgren top of the crease with another excellent stop. Marcus Johansson at center. To the attack. Leaned on there by Liljegren. Joey Anderson on the move. 8 minutes left, second period. He'll roll it down, and Aston Reese in after it against John Carlson. Aston Reese centers. Marner in front. A chance. Tavares. Lindgren down and makes another stop.
it's a Saturday night and the crowd's on their feet and everything happening, starting with the hit. Ovechkin's only got 2 shots on goal. This is his 6th hit. It's coming right to you. Timmins trying to make the play, gets right into the Capitals bench. Tavares getting the feed from Marner, and watch Lindgren just try to stay up as long as he could. Shuffles across, keeps the glove above the pad, and those were 2 aggressive saves by Lindgren there. As you know, you wonder for a goaltender. Kelly Hrudey could talk to this. Had his opportunities in Montreal, unable to really stick. Now all of a sudden at the right time, 28 years old, getting his chance to play. This is 7 starts in a row, and he's on a 5-1 run, and he has been extremely sharp here tonight.
1-3 against the Leafs in his career with a .443 save percentage, or goals against average. So the Leafs don't recognize this version of Charlie Lindgren, but it's been what he's been providing Washington this season.
Want to bet? Get in on the action and make a play at Sports Interaction.
Here again, you've got Matthews out with Tavares and Marner again for the offensive zone faceoff. Twice this period that Keefe has done it.
Shots 11-3 Leafs here in the second. The Leafs have outscored their opponents 39-20 now in the middle frame this season. Jensen onto the right side for Lars Eller, trying to get it back to Jensen, the former Red Wing. In deep. What a move by Nick Jensen, shooting right on. And Tavares up with a rebound and able to get that away to Brody. Matthews on the move, but the pass sent deep into the zone, and Orlov up ahead. Hathaway one-hands it, and now a lead pass to Hathaway too far. Nick Dowd, by the way, a late scratch in this game. Sheldon Keefe had mentioned that the Caps have one of the best 4th lines in the NHL, but without Dowd for this game, their normal 4th line center, we presume because of an illness.
The flu's been going around, and also Hunter Shepard, who you're wondering when he would maybe get a start in goal for the Capitals. He's not even backing up as he went down with the flu as well.
And Darcy Kemper is still out with a concussion, but getting close to a return for Washington. And while we're on that topic, Morgan Rielly, we're told, not far away from skating again for the Leafs, as he has missed a dozen games. Liljegren for Sandin, who have elevated their game in the absence of Morgan Rielly. Here's Engvall to Liljegren. Swung in behind the net for Kerfoot, and Kemp in front, and again a right pad stop by Lindgren in tight as this Kemp line continues to buzz and comes close to the tying goal. 25th shot of the night for Toronto, and Engvall just tied up in front.
To Washington tonight, a strong start so far from him with Toronto, the former Capital, going up against his former team for the 2nd time. He's just one of 2 goalies who left Washington in the offseason to have a strong start to the season. Samsonov 9-2-0 with the Leafs, and Vanacek 12-3-2 with the New Jersey Devils. Guys, sometimes just a change of scenery is apparently all it takes.
Leafs are 2nd in save percentage in the league, .919. The Capitals have improved their save percentage from a year ago as well, but you wonder whether or not they wouldn't mind having Vanacek and Samsonov.
You got 2 goalies with a real chip on their shoulder going away from Washington, and both having fantastic starts with their new team.
Although the best player on the ice so far tonight might be Charlie Lindgren for Washington. Great goaltending. Here's a centering pass. It hit the side of the net, ended up in front. Up ahead, Matthews tried to feed it to Bunting, and it came up and nearly clipped him in the chin. Rasmus Sandin, a stretch at center, cut off. Here's Jensen back in, but Abe Kubel, late to get to the bench, was offside. We'll catch up with the most exciting family in the neighborhood, the Fams, on Run the Burbs New season January 4th at 8:30 on CBC, stream free on CBC Gem.
You know, a long stretch pass that gets picked off. You can hear the groans from the crowd. I don't think they realized that Abe Cabell had made the hit and still wasn't off. They were just watching the puck. So a bit of a break there for Sandin as his stretch pass gets picked off.
There's the door inside the blue line. I remember Nathan MacKinnon late to get off in Game 7 of a playoff series against San Jose that negated a goal. It was Gabe Landeskog. Now MacKinnon scored the goal that was called back. Justin Hall flips that toward the net. Knocked away from Morgan. Back to Hall. Sends it to the side of the cage again. Jensen has Marner tied up. Now Jensen surrounded by Maple Leafs, and Tavares takes it away. Morgan's on it. Feeds back to Hall. Shot incoming, got through, and right on Lindgren. Leafs win another board battle. Mitch Marner's got it up high. Looking across for Tavares. Morgan was in front, and the pass went the other way and got picked off by Sherry.
Yeah, I think he had an immediate pass, did Tavares to Morgan. I don't think he realized it till he was too late and unable to make the pass that he wanted to.
Out of the attack, here comes Marner again, through Holmberg, shot it high. What a chance for Pontus Holmberg. And now he comes off the boards with it. Aston Reese to Anderson, trying to give it back. And it's played outside the line, bouncing puck for Brody to knock it back in. Aston Reese for Holmberg to the line, and Brody's got a reset there. Here's Holmberg turning it back in, and offside called at the Caps blue line.
Well, the bottom six again. You've mentioned how many times the Camp line and Kerfoot have made things happen. Here's good job getting in all alone, and Holmberg just tried to get Lindgren to move to his right and go back, or move to his right and go back to the goaltender's left. Just missed the short side a little bit, but a good shift in the offensive zone by that line, which is starting to get a little chemistry as well. They've had a few good shifts that have been majority in the offensive zone. Exactly what you want from a fourth line.
Holmberg suffering his first regulation loss in the NHL on Thursday. One of 13 in history to have a run of 15 straight like that before losing their first NHL game. Mike Busniak, by the way, went 31 before he lost as a member of the Philadelphia Flyers when they had that extended run.
Is that not a Pete Peters run as a goaltender as well? A great run by the Flyers.
There's Kerfoot in, a pass for Camp, and a quick toe stop by Lindgren. I think Pat Quinn was the coach of that team, wasn't he? Yeah. Under 3 to go here in the second period. Oh, Sandin put it on goal. Loose in front. Samsonov down. Rebound stopped by Samsonov. Oh, friendly fire there. Nearly cost the Leafs as Sandin put it right on his own goaltender, and chaos ensued.
And Samsonov there had his goal stick turned around, so he couldn't even stop the puck when he tried to freeze it at the other side. What a great reaction, though, by Samsonov to make 2 excellent saves in recovery.
Bunting sends it around. Hall after it, trying to hold the zone. What a pickpocket. Nylander. Bunting sent it high. Nylander again tried to reverse it for Matthews. Gets it to 34. In front, and Bunting sprawling, but unable to reach that. 3 Caps are out. Over the line they come, and it's shoveled deep by Orlov. Justin Hall settles things down. Leafs are changing. 100 seconds remaining here in the second. Now it's Marner flipping it in, and he'll go after it. John Carlson around for Gustafsson. It'll stay in the zone. Timmins shot, and that was blocked in front by John Carlson. Gustafsson lost it. Tavares tried to work it loose, and Sherry's on it. Connor Sherry down the left flank. In deep, Strome after it against Timmins. Brody around for Tavares. Had trouble collecting that, but able to get it to Morgan over the line. Dennis Morgan to the attack. Taken out by Carlson. Ovechkin trying to break, and it Comes out to center, and Ovi unable to kick that onto his stick. Final minute. Connor Timmins back. Shots in the second, or shots in the game, 27-20 now, but the Leafs are a shot away here in the final minute of the second period. Here's Sherry on a 25-goal pace, which would be a career best. Around it goes for Anderson. Kept in by Obe Kubel, and now Liljegren out. Aston Reese flips it ahead. Digging after, that's Holmberg. Taken to the end boards, but comes away with the puck. Final dozen seconds here. Aston Reese off the boards. Trying to get to the middle. Here's Sandin. Late shot, and it hit Van Riemsdyk and sails out of play with 3.1 to go.
Well, some anxious moments at the end there for Lindgren, but how about at the other end is this is one for Sandin. He just wanted to reel back. He couldn't get to it, but now Samsonov has lost his stick, but he's still able to slide back. And what a great play out of the corner by Aston Reese. He gets knocked down, but keeps the play alive to the outside. Sandin trying to get there, but Van Riemsdyk closed the gap after a bit of a gaffe at one end that his goaltender bailed himself out of. Sandin gets a chance at the other. Van Riemsdyk makes the play defensively.
Matthews against Eller on this draw. Looking for one last chance, and it comes outside the line, and that's going to do it. We're through two here in Washington. Austin Matthews on the board, but Charlie Lindgren has his Capitals in front by a goal after 40 minutes. 32 Thoughts with Elliot Friedman, Jeff Merrick coming up in our second intermission.
Player this season.
Welcome to the second intermission. 32 Thoughts is always presented by GMC and the new Sierra AT4X. Jeff Merrick, Elliot Friedman. Patrick Allvin is on After Hours with Scott tonight. So will he have questions for Elliot, or Elliot, have you got questions for Mr. Allvin? But you've sure been covering the Canucks.
Well, I don't like to tell Scott Oak what to do, and it's not like he's going to listen to me anyway. But I think one of the questions we're all trying to figure out is, what are the Vancouver Canucks up to? What is their goal here with some of the conversations they're having around the league? And here's the best I can give you. Number one, they're not interested in a rebuild or a teardown, but they are interested in changing their mix and breathing some new life into the team. They have indicated that they have one untouchable, and that is Pettersson. Now, I know what everybody's going to start to say. What does that mean about Quinn Hughes? And what I was told is that the Canucks have said it would take an absolutely mammoth offer. This is not something they're looking to do. It would take a mammoth offer for them to part way with the tremendous young defenseman. And just the other thing, Bo Horvat, we've all been wondering this week about what his future is. The best I can sense, Ron, is that, and Jeff, is that JT Miller's contract is worth $56 million. I just don't think they want to go over that for Horvat, and his year has put him over that.
Okay, sticking with trades as well, someone to keep our eyes on is James Van Riemsdyk of the Philadelphia Flyers, having a really nice season now and scored tonight as well. Keep your eyes on him. The Philadelphia Flyers have made him available. Now, the actual cash here, $5 million. $1 million has already been paid as a bonus going back to last summer. The cap hit is $7 million, but Philadelphia could eat some of that as well to make it more palatable for a team looking at James Van Riemsdyk. Probably really good for a team looking for some power play help, a team destined for the playoffs. He's having another decent season, Ron.
A lot of news with Hockey Canada this week, Jeff, and I know you wanted to touch on that.
Okay, so we've been on this pretty much all season, so we'll close the loop on this one. Today it became official. Hockey Canada has a new board of directors led by the chair, the Honourable Hugh Fraser, and congratulations to our colleague Cassie Campbell-Pascal. Ratified earlier on today by the 13 Hockey Canada members. This is a transitional board, as we've been talking about. They will only serve for 1 year, although they can reapply, and one of the first orders of business will be to identify and find another CEO or their next CEO. One of the questions is, will it be one person? Will it be two? And the name that we get, again, Ron, keep coming back to, and Elliot, is Therese Brisson of Alpine Canada.
A lot of reporting about the scheduling this week and what could happen in the NHL. There's a lot of teams that just don't like that a lot of the rivalries, like Calgary-Edmonton, is over and soon to be over Rangers-Islanders. And Jeff, one of your old buddies, Greg Wyshynski, I think hit what there's kind of being discussed yesterday, and that is a movement to an 84-game season potentially. 4 versus the other 7 in your division, 3 versus the other division in your conference, and 2 versus the other conference, also fewer preseason games. When the NFL went to 18 regular season games, they dropped the preseason to 3. I think that's the kind of model this is based on. Well, there is a will to discuss this, but Jeff, there are hurdles, including one, the players.
Well, so far there's been no contact between the NHL and the Players Association on this one at all, but I can tell you informally, over the last few years, this has been discussed between the NHL and the Players Association. I think you hit it, though. Fewer preseason games would be crucial for this one to curry favor with the Players Association. And I think as well, Ron, a shorter training camp. I think that might be the path to this new arrangement.
Leadership in the CHL may be changing.
So, yeah, a couple of things. So earlier on this week, Gilles Courteau, the commissioner of the QMJHL, announced that he'll be stepping down from his position at the end of next season. So they'll try to identify and find someone to put in place for spring, and then Courteau will mentor that person all next season. 3 names have popped up that you're probably familiar with. Jocelyn Thibault, Marc Denis, and Stéphane Quintal have all been put forward as well. Some people have mentioned Trevor Georgie of St. John. Not sure that's a fit there. Interesting as well, Ron Robison, who's the WHL commissioner, he'll step down at the end of next season as well. So 2 of the 3 commissioners of the CHL will be stepping down. There will be new leadership. The CHL could have a whole new tone and timbre, Ron, next season.
Boy, that's a lot of really good stuff on leadership around our game.
Yes.
So, Abubakar Kazbekov, tragic news in London.
Just horrible. The junior hockey world very much in mourning today with the passing of the London Knights player who died suddenly last night. You know, London was supposed to play Flint today. The London Knights were supposed to have their Christmas party after the game. Instead, parents drove to London to pick up their kids and take them home for the holidays. From all of us here, we express our condolences to the family and the friends of Kazbekov, to say nothing of the London Knights and the entire Ontario Hockey League.
You can combine the 24-hour
Yes, this was in San Jose, March 20th of 94. That's 8:01 for Wayne. And surprisingly, we didn't empty the bench. We did on this goal, 8:02, 3 nights later at home. And I'm just curious, I bring this up because Ovechkin, they have given them permission to empty the bench and stop the game and so on. I wonder why we didn't do that for 8:01, right? The same sort of thing, so just as big and shocking to me that we didn't even celebrate in any way.
Yeah, you should have celebrated, but the actual ceremony with all the presentation of the score sheets and such would have to wait for breaking of the record.
But still, 8:01.
Yeah. Why didn't you like Wayne enough to jump out down there and hug him? Not even a stick tap or anything else?
I did. You probably thought the next one was coming that quickly. Yeah, most confidence.
Yeah.
Hits.
Yeah, Ovechkin. So he's got 6 hits tonight, and he's got this beautiful one on Connor Timmins. Ovi is 4th all-time since they started recording hits just after the lockout. 3,375. 3,375 hits. That's a lot of bodies, and this is a big one. He's done this hundreds of times at least in his career.
And we've been talking about the game's best goal scorers tonight. You look at the Matthews effort, and Kel, you talked about Stamkos and his commitment to playing a complete game, and that's what we see from Austin Matthews in many situations. Look at defensively, being responsible, make sure he gets his stick into the right place, he's good at takeaways, and then just make sure his timing is good, then goes down to the other end, even though he's outnumbered 1-on-4, just a beautiful pass up, 1-on-3 in that situation, gets it off and buries it. But just great awareness in terms of complete game at both ends of the ice.
That was Connor Timmins who passed that after he got hit into Timmins earlier. Kel.
Yeah, and in Montreal, Stamkos still chasing 500. He's 3 short. We did think he may have scored, but they're giving it to Hedman. He has 2 assists right now, so the watch is on still in Montreal.
Oh, the puns, Kevin. Anyway, Tampa Blitzen run, Rudolph run. Tampa Blitzen Montreal, and on Dasher, Connor, is Rogers Wrapped in Red event right there.
Back and things haven't gotten any less awkward for young Mark. Season 2 of the hit comedy series premieres January 3rd on CBC, stream free on CBC Gem. And speaking of awkward, Alex Ovechkin looked anything but awkward when he signed a one-day deal with FC Dynamo and played in a friendly against social media stars, and he made this poor opponent look very small. Tonight, Connor Timmins at 6'2" and 200 pounds is anything but small. Just like on the soccer field, Alex Ovechkin imposing his physical will. Chris Cuthbert and Craig Simpson with the call of the third now. Gentlemen.
6 hits, the Richter scale hit on Connor Timmins, the exclamation point for Ovechkin so far tonight. Just thinking a one-goal game, he has scored 4 empty net goals in the last week or so, and 53 in his career, so that's a possibility here tonight.
Yeah, amazing little stretch that kind of got us closer to the 800 quickly. The 4 straight empty net goals, then he goes and gets the hat trick. But flair for the dramatic, as great players typically do, and just buckle up here for the third, see what happens.
And Jensen, and following up, scores! They score 10 seconds into this third period. Garnet Hathaway makes it 4-2 Washington.
Chris, you mentioned that good line with Nick Dowd usually in the middle, and how about Peter Laviolette to start the third period against the Matthews line, this line that he trusts. Eller in the middle now. Hathaway does an excellent job of just bowling his way through and right on the doorstep. The D have been so effective jumping up as Jensen makes that play possible. Hathaway gets inside on Bunting. You know, coming into this night, the Capitals D had only scored 13 goals. They get 3 goals tonight, and then they create one there by Jensen jumping up into the play and Hathaway following. 10 seconds in, it's a 4-2 game.
Well, Sheldon Keefe taking another look at that, and are they going to challenge this?
Oh, he's going to call
a timeout to get a better look at it.
The entry at the line, obviously a little bit of a look at.
30-second timeout, Toronto.
Sam Kim, Jordan Bean have been so good at in the video room calling these for the Leafs. Let's see if they are going to challenge.
Oh, taking the little extra time. Is this a matter of control? Oh no, boy. Look at the top of the screen. Can't tell who's skate. That is Hathaway's skate. Looks like it's touching blue there.
Yeah, it looks like it
I
was
think it's
hanging
still
on
got
the
a
line.
piece of it. Boy, is it ever close. You lose sight of the puck a little bit on his stick, so that's why Sheldon Keefe took the timeout. They needed a little longer, and after the second, third, fourth, fifth look, they decide it's onside.
Now, they weren't going to win that one. He is 10-1, I believe, in his career in challenging goals, but this one will stay on the board, and it's a 4-2 Washington lead. That's the first goal at home for Hathaway this season. Third overall. And they're buzzing again. Ove Kubel along with Hathaway out there. And Lars Eller. And now the Leafs get it to the line, still not out. And here's Marner trying to step up, and he can't get around Jensen.
And his pregame comments, Sheldon Keefe said, yeah, they've got a fourth line that can play against anyone. And boy, what a momentum-changing goal that is. You know, Leafs come in thinking, okay, we just got to get one, get back. Now listen to the crowd, and 10 seconds in, you've got a 2-goal deficit.
TJ Brody up to Engvall, swooping in with Liljegren. He's got 3 shots on goal, fired that across. Kerfoot's on it. Back around for Liljegren. Here's Alex Kerfoot to Engvall. Watched by Carlson. Shields swung that towards the net. Kerfoot tried to center, and that was neatly blocked on the play by Strome. Puck sent down into the Leaf zone. Strome, Sherry, and Ovechkin are out, but the Leafs turn back with Camp to the attack. Over the line, it's Kerfoot. Alex Kerfoot fired right on, a rebound. It got past Joey Anderson and is sent out to center for Hall. Both teams making changes. Hall will dispatch it back into Washington ice. Then took the stick of Lindgren. Holmberg to the line, and that shot deflecting just wide of the open corner. Around it goes to Milano on a 3-assist night. Will flip it down into Leaf territory. Anthony Mantha after it crushes Hall and knocks the helmet off Hall, who's slow to get up, and he's going to have to make his way to the Leaf bench.
How's that not a penalty? Mantha just totally disregarded the puck and got the hands right up into the head, drove his head into the boards as Hall lost his helmet afterwards.
Here's Kuznetsov in centers, and a big stop there by Samsonov to keep the Leafs close on a chance for Orlov.
Oh boy, remember that save for Samsonov for sure. There's Hall trying to get his helmet. He's going back after the puck. You've got to have some semblance of the puck there. Just drives his head into the boards with no effort to get at the puck. No penalty called as Hall got up. There's Kuznetsov with the backhander again. How about that saucer right to Orlov in the middle? Good tracking of the puck by Samsonov. Not only making the save, but holding on and not allowing a second chance.
Matthews won a defensive zone draw, and now TJ Brodie steps up. 4 Leafs into the Capital zone. Nylander back, and a Brodie tip just missed. Now Timmins across and gets it back from Nylander. Flipped inside the line. Michael Bunting's 10-game point streak on the line here in the third. Connor Timmins up ahead. Tavares will dump it down for Malgin. Back to Tavares. Tied up by a couple of Capitals. Marner into the fray. Mitch Marner looking for his first shot of this game. Malgin holds up high, flips it toward the net to Sandin, and his pass knocked down by Orlov, and the Caps clear.
Well, that's one time Sandin tried to pass as opposed to just shoot that one, make sure it gets through as Tavares was on the doorstep.
Here's a chance in front, and Kuznetsov stopped by Samsonov. Well, the best friends there, and here is a chance, and that off the bar. Is it in? It is, and it's 5-2 Washington. That's a hat-trick goal for Erik Gustafsson.
You saw the move by Ovechkin to let the fans know who got that one. His quick release. How about the saves by Samsonov? Just under siege here. As this one in all alone, he's able to stay. Look at the athleticism, pushing across, gets the toe out on Kuznetsov. But they stay after the puck, and there it is. Up and under the bar, and the rebound anyways was deposited back. But man, the D really having an impact here coming in. He's got one from the other side coming in on the right, this time the left. Look at the look off there by Kuznetsov. Made it look like he was going to shoot that puck. And boy, there's not much you can complain about Samsonov's play there. That's just a perfect shot by Gustafsson. Right into the only area that he had. You see him reacting to Kuznetsov. What a pass, and what a pass it was.
Came into the game without a goal.
32 games.
And now, the third defenseman in Caps history to register a hat trick since Sergei Gonchar, the last, back in 2000. Kevin Hatcher in 1993.
And you know, it's Sheldon Keefe looking up to see, okay, what exactly happened there to open up. The seam passes have been a real problem in this game, and quite frankly, it hasn't really been something that the Leafs have given up that often. But all 3 of the goals for Gustafsson, very similar to that.
Well, it's here Alex Ovechkin celebrated the goal. First shot was in, and then his defenseman has the hat trick for Washington tonight.
You know, right now you got a discussion going on, Justin St. Pierre and Justin Hall. on that non-call. You think of the difference there. It was a 2-goal game. The Leafs on the power play. Instead, now all of a sudden you're down on 3 because there was no call.
Pad still raining down here, and they'll have to step back.
Well, throughout all this streak that the Leafs have been on, the one thing is they've kept games so close. In the 12 games they've lost, they've only lost by a combined 17 goals. If the score stayed the same, it would be the first time the Leafs have lost by 3 goals in a game.
Leafs in danger of going 2 straight with regulation losses for the first time this year. Unless they've got at least 3 in period number 3 to get back in it. They were the better team in the second period. Out shooting Washington 14-6. There'll be a penalty, and it's going to go against Kerfoot. And now Ovechkin will go on the power play unless this response by Dylan Strome will even things up.
That's the foot-on-foot there as Kerfoot going in defensively as Ovechkin tried to shield the puck and to get a right foot that knocks him down. Here's right there, the clip on the back of the leg. Both officials with the arm up, and you're right. If you're looking for 801, where's Ovi's office, you know the puck is going to be finding its way to number 8 on this power play, the first one of the game for the Capitals.
First power play of the night for the Caps.
You know, amazingly, in his 800 goals, 358 of them have come off a wrister. Only 190 on a slap shot. I thought, Chris, quite frankly, it would be more, but a lot of those power play ones aren't necessarily a slap shot. They're a quick snap or a wrister as well.
Leafs win the draw, send it out to center. Marner and Camp on the kill. The guy with the hat trick on the bench here, Erik Gustafsson, not in the first power play unit. It's Kuznetsov over the line, working his way in with Johansson. Strome, you know where Ovechkin is. And Karlsson down low, looking for that pass. No, bad angle shot by Kuznetsov when everybody expected the pass. Maybe coming this time. Back to the line, Karlsson. Kuznetsov neatly off his skate. Brody sprawling. Justin Hall a chance to clear. Held in at the line by Ovechkin. Hall a swing and a miss as he can't clear it. Marcus Johansson kicks it back to the grade 8. Far side of the ice, broken up by Camp, and that'll turn Washington back.
You think of these last 2 years, Ovechkin with 50 last year. He had 22 in the first 32 games, and Nick Backstrom only played 2 of those first 32. He's got 20 coming into this, the 33rd game. Nick Backstrom hasn't played 1, so he's been able to produce without his favorite guy giving him the puck.
Backstrom skating. Here's Ovechkin, and that shot breaks the stick of Liljegren. How many times has that happened with a Ovi slap shot? So Liljegren without a stick as they play it around with 20 seconds left in the power play. Back on Ovechkin's stick into the high slot. Back for number 8. Tracked by Liljegren. Around for Mantha. So Ovechkin the whole 2 minutes, despite everybody else changing. Milano fanned on that pass, and the Leafs have killed it as Giordano fires it the length of the ice. So approaching 6.5 of this third period. The Leafs in a 3-goal hole. Kerfoot up with it and gave it away. Orlov ahead, and Sherry red line and tried to drop it in. Bluffed down by Brody, and here's Hall with the puck. He'll send it down into the Washington zone. Start to think of how many big stops Lindgren made in that Capitals net tonight that has set up his team for this commanding position. A chance in front, and it's rolled just wide. Nylander tried to set up Bunting. In behind the net for Bunting, can't knock it down. Bunting along the boards. Worked it loose for Nylander. Hit by Jensen, and now Eller's got it. Pounded there by Nylander, but Lars Eller skates away. Up it goes Orlov, a drop pass, and the Leafs will counter. 2-on-1, Bunting with Marner, and the Caps get back. Here's Timmins firing it wide. And now dumped out to center where Timmins sends it back to Sandin. Rasmus Sandin chips and chases. And Riemsdyk for Irwin. Capitals with their third defensive pair out. Marner comes up with it. Hooks it in front of the net. That's knocked down. Timmins fired it across, and that went off a stick and up about 10 rows into the seats. So the Capitals with 2 in the third. The Leafs come close to getting one back.
All about Alex Ovechkin. It was an unexpected Capital filling the net. Erik Gustafsson with a hat trick, matching his goal total from last season. 3 goals with the Chicago Blackhawks last year, 3 tonight. And Alex Ovechkin is loving it. Ovechkin, a team player through and through. Everyone watching the goals from him, but it was Gustafsson's night.
Don't stop at 3. Don't stop at 3.
I talked to his first roommate, Brian Wilsey, this week. And one of the things he mentioned about Ovechkin is how much he loves team. And there was a pretty good example of it there. On the night we came to hail the Great 8, Gustafsson's stolen the headline so far. And Ovechkin's all about it. Another thing Wilsey mentioned was that he loved playing against Toronto and Montreal, particularly in those great hockey cities.
He loves the big stage. I can't help but think of his hat trick for his young buddy Alex Louis, who is fighting cancer, and right on the mark, Ovechkin goes in and gets him the hat trick there. So 41 goals against these Toronto Maple Leafs. Just for reference, Wayne Gretzky had 55 in his career as he stands alone there.
Knocked down by Milano, who's had a big night. Malgin on it, and he'll head north. Approaching 9 minutes of the third period as Malgin turned back. Brian Wilsey also mentioned that he was early on the wardrobe consultant. And to let him know that the Russian jeans were not part of the wardrobe, but it wasn't long before he found Dolce & Gabbana. Anderson sent it across, and there's Mantha up for Johansson. This Capital team battling for a playoff spot. An older team, 14 players on the ice tonight, at least 30 years of age. So they're in that one more run mode. They're trying to recapture what they did in 2018.
Well, you think of how long it really took Alex Ovechkin to finally get that taste of the Stanley Cup, and all the disappointments along the road too. So it takes its time, but you're right, as time ticks away, Ted Leonsis has said there's no way that they're going to strip things down here with him on the pursuit of the Gretzky number 894.
Kerfoot digs back in, and that is vacuumed up by Lindgren. So past the midway mark of the third, with the Capitals in charge here in DC.
Desjardins Financial Group, a proud part of communities, a proud fan of hockey wherever it's played.
Here comes the bridal fashion and the Singh family Bollywed new series with back-to-back episodes starting January 12th on CBC or stream free on CBC Gem. Tough stretch now for the Leafs, in danger of 2 straight losses. Tampa Bay Tuesday, and then one other game before Christmas against Philadelphia. It's the next gen game on a Thursday afternoon.
And you know, it's dealing with different emotions. When you go through a run of 15 where you're getting points and you don't lose, you heard Sheldon Keefe talk throughout that stretch of just how quickly things can change. And you know, all of a sudden you lose 2 in a row, you go, everything will be okay. But they're all wary and cognizant of how quickly the tide can turn.
Timmins sends that wide of the cage. Leafs on it. Nylander for Bunting. Back to Nylander. The Leaf goal scorers both on the ice. Matthews and Nylander. And Lindgren covers. And Bunting knocked down at the side of the net. And that will trigger a response.
Well, you mentioned before Bunting on the 10-game streak. He's got a 3-game goal streak where he's got 3 goals and 9 assists. Matthews just trying to get outside where the pressure is and find an open lane. Look at, get back, don't get in tight, and then once you do get in tight, you got to battle for your position there. Problem on that one is the puck never got there in time, and a little chirping back and forth, as you can imagine, as Hathaway, as he often does.
Usually it's Bunting doing the turn.
Yes, well, they're both kind of good at it, aren't they?
Here's Matthews, comes out in front, swings that on, and will draw a penalty. Puck touched, and Leafs are going to get a power play here with 9:24 remaining in the third.
You know, and again, that's Bunting, the agitator. You saw Hathaway, they're still jawing, Chris, as they're going back. The linesman's trying to stay in the middle of it. But now you get chasing it, and a couple of times you got away with a few. This time they're right on the hands on the quick turnaround by Matthews. Once Eller lost the body position, there was a little bit of a gap, and a good job of taking it aggressively to the net to draw the penalty was Matthews.
The Matthews line stays out, joined by Tavares and Marner, so they go with the 5-forward power play set once again. 0 for 1. Leafs had just 1 shot on their first power play. And Marner back in his own zone. Johansson and Kuznetsov in a penalty kill roll for the Caps, who are 12th on the kill. Leafs are in to get the setup. Nylander back to Marner, still looking for his first shot of the night. Into the slot, Tavares blocked. Rebound, chopped at, knocked to the boards, and Matthews after it against Jensen. Up along the boards, Marner, near side Nylander. In a hot shot, rebound, knocked out in front, and Tavares scoops it back to the line for Matthews. And Marner. Matthews fires, and Lindgren got a piece of that. Flipped out by Nylander. Played across and back to Marner. Wasn't sure if that didn't ricochet out of play.
I thought it hit the netting too.
But they play on here. Marner across, and Nylander in trouble with that. Knocked down by Jensen, and the Caps clear.
Well, there's a minute 15 of constant pressure. A couple big saves by the goaltender again, but no second chances. There's been the 1 shot, and then the rebounds have been cleared away by the D in front, giving Lindgren an opportunity to hold steady.
Malgin with speed gets a shot off the rush. John Carlson a chance to clear. He'll fire it down, and the Leafs have under 20 seconds left. They've fired a couple on Lindgren so far. He's made 29 stops on the night. Engvall in front, deflected just off target. And the Caps get another clear, and they're back at full strength. Played up the boards for Eller out of the box, and he'll spin it to center and pass Timmins down. Capitals next game again against Detroit. Fittingly, as Camp comes in, and that does hit the screen. And play halted with under 7 to go in the third.
Well, the Leafs get a couple of good chances off the power play. Matthews, just a little saucer pass to an area, quick turnaround. There seems to be a body in front every single time, and Van Riemsdyk makes the save there. This is a good hard shot though, but Lindgren, watch his reaction. Once he gets it on the shoulder, he's sliding back to his right. He's reading the play, reading where his rebounds went, and no chance for a second chance on that rebound.
Camp wins a draw. Kerfoot up high, sends that toward the net in front. And a centering play by Camp. Aston Reese couldn't come up with that. Aston Reese had matched Ovechkin with 6 hits on the night. Kerfoot again. Kemp fires right on, and that will stick to Lindgren, and that's the 30th stop of the evening.
Hockey night in Canada, where an ice-cold Coke, food, and friends come together.
Watch Hockey Night in Canada with me, followed by the Player Cast, presented by Coca-Cola.
So, Chris, you go back to Lindgren last year. He only had 5 games in the National Hockey League for St. Louis. He came in when they had injury problems, but he went 5-0 with a 1-2-2 and a 9-5-8. Went back to the American League, had a really solid season with 24 wins, played well in the playoffs, and kind of the backup option here to Kemper. And now with Kemper out, he's taken this net and run it.
Off the draw, Nylander testing Lindgren again. Lindgren, here's a chance, and that's sent wide of the net by Bunting. Lindgren, the first star in the NHL a week ago, and getting evidence of why that was the case.
I always find with a right-handed catching goaltender, it just gets the goal scorers. You have to adjust your shot and your thinking, and at times that can be an advantage. Guys don't always adjust to that as well as they maybe should. They don't think about it going into a game.
Pass that jumped the stick of Milano. That's Orlov reversing for Kuznetsov. Evgeny Kuznetsov takes a lap, gives it back to Orlov, and a toe stop there by Samsonov. As Orlov looked like he might have been looking back door.
And Samsonov read it in his eyes at the last second, was thinking shot, and then, like you said, shot pass to the back door. Just adjusted with his left toe to kick it out far enough to get a piece of it, not allow it to get through.
Here's Connor Timmins, knocked back in by Gustafsson. Tavares couldn't touch that puck. He would have been offside. John Carlson off the boards and out at center ice. Here's Tavares steering back in. Marner couldn't catch up to that. Carlson off the boards. That one knocked down, and trying to hold it in is Holmberg still out there. Capitals up with it, and an aerial for Ove Kubel. There's Ove Kubel passing it across. Matt Irwin blast right on. Leafs send that too far for Mulligan, and it'll slide down, an icing call against Toronto.
Well, now you have to think for Peter Laviolette, everything's pretty much gone right. And I was just watching the bench, and Ovechkin opened the door and kind of looked to his left, and Laviolette just sort of did a hand gesture. Yeah, okay, offensive zone face-off. You got a tired Toronto group out there. Like, how about getting me out there, Coach? I know you're not so worried about the game right now, but here's an opportunity for some history.
Strome on the draw, the former Toronto Marlboro GTHL star, drafted one ahead of Mitch Marner in 2015. Ovechkin turned that wide of the net. Aston Reese, Strome up with it. Here's across it. Carlson looking for the stick of Ovechkin, sent that wide. Gustafsson, Fort Carlson. Ovechkin goes to the front. It's Timmins sending it around, still not out. Sherry drops it off for Ovechkin. Strome again. Capital pressure, and Ovechkin's on it. Is this where history is made or not? Leafs intercept, and he'll get control of it, and now the Capitals start to retreat, although Ovechkin stays out. And now it's Connor Timmins ahead, and that'll be the end of that shift. Or will it go? That's off the post, Engvall. And Ovechkin does stay out, and now he'll turn and head to the bench. Boy, Engvall comes close. Forward battle, Hall trying to step up on Kuznetsov. And now Van Riemsdyk sends it in. Delayed offside. The Caps have to tag. Kerfoot and Engvall, two of the Leafs' best tonight. And Engvall shot hit a leg. That one fired across the goal mouth. Hall plays it back in deep. Kerfoot can't knock it down. Now the Capitals work it ahead past Protas and out to center, and now they got a 2-on-1. Kuznetsov across, and a return pass hit a skate and ricocheted out. Again, maybe one too many passes.
Yeah, Samsonov was late to reacting. It was a hard, crisp pass by Kuznetsov. I thought he had half a net if Johansson was ready to shoot. Instead, he looked for the pass the whole way.
Nylander turns it back, 2.5 to go here in the third. Erik Gustafsson, the difference in this game, a hat trick. The 5th Swedish defenseman in history to register a hat trick. How about these names? Lidstrom, Salming, Carlson, and Hampus Lindholm, the other 4.
That's got to be a pretty good feeling when he reads that at the end of the night.
Barzell and the glove stopped by Samsonov. Charlie Lindgren's been stout tonight, 31 stops. We'll admire some of his best work when we come back.
His 7th straight start. He gets his career-high 15th game in a season. He had 14 back in 2018 with Montreal, and boy, the Caps have been seeing his best during this run. He's been sharp on the puck. He's been out aggressively. 31 saves to this point on the night, many of them like that, very acrobatic. Gets a little breather now as he watches at the other end as Michael Bunting took a penalty, and here's the Alex Ovechkin watch as the last 2 minutes will be played on the power play, giving him an opportunity.
So he won't get the empty net chance we anticipated tonight, but he does get at least one more chance on the power play tonight. Leafs get an outlet, and Marner skates away. Justin Hall jumps up with him. Marner from distance, there's his first shot of the night.
292 power play goals, the most in the National Hockey League history for Alex Ovechkin, and he's looking to try to make it 293.
Also scored more goals on the road than he has at home in his career.
Okay, the one thing I can't believe of all the different stats, 800 goals and he's only got 8 deflections, 34 tips, but 8 deflections. And it tells you a lot. He's not usually in that little tight area getting that little shot off to the side. It's usually coming off of his stick, not off of someone else's. That's so incredible in terms of how much is generated by his abilities.
Alex Kerfoot intercepts and sends away a chance for Aston Reese, kicked away for the right pad stop. You mentioned the opposite glove hand for Lindgren, and I know as a coach you used to take some time to brief your shooters about that.
Well, you get accustomed to shooting to an area, getting the goaltender's movement, and it's the exact opposite, and sometimes it can stymie you.
Here's Johansson trying to shovel him across, and again deferring to Ovechkin there, and the pass picked off. Kerfoot swooping in, slick move, backhand, glove stop. Charlie Lindgren.
This play is made by Justin Hall knowing exactly who's on the ice. He wasn't worried about any shot coming. Watch Hall just anticipating where the pass is going to go. And now you got great patience. Kerfoot's had another strong game. As I said, he's played in every situation now. That line 5-on-5's been good and does a good job killing time, but Lindgren shuts the door.
Hall was saying this morning, when you play Ovechkin, you know, at least on his side of the ice, that he's going to be in the line of fire all night long, and you leave a lot of those games with bruises, but tonight he hasn't had to block an Ovechkin shot. And just a couple dozen seconds remaining. So history may have to wait. Mantha across. Here's maybe one more chance. Ovechkin swing and a miss. Pass was too high as he was set up in front. And now David Kampf up with it. Clock drains. No goal from Ovechkin, but a terrific performance by Charlie Lindgren and the Capitals tonight.
Don't you think it was just for Mantha, just a little bit too much nerves? He's trying to force this one across. He's got to saucer it. Well, he saucered it a little too high, and Ovechkin a swing and a miss on that one.
So the reaction of the Ovechkin family. Detroit here for the next game on Monday night, and maybe that will appropriately when history's made. Caps win 5-2. Let's head to Montreal.
Live sports. Thousands of live events. ESPN Plus originals. The exclusive home of the complete 30 for 30 library. Exclusive access. Top leagues and tournaments. And the biggest names in the game. ESPN Plus. Live sports. Thousands of live events. ESPN Plus originals. The exclusive home of the complete 30 for 30 library. Exclusive access. Top leagues and tournaments. And the biggest names in the game. ESPN Plus. Live sports. Thousands of live events. ESPN Plus originals. The exclusive home of the complete 30 for 30 library. Exclusive access. Top leagues and tournaments. And the biggest names in the game. ESPN Plus. Live sports. Thousands of live events. ESPN Plus originals. The exclusive home of the complete 30 for 30 library. Exclusive access. Top leagues and tournaments. And the biggest names in the game. ESPN Plus. Live sports. Thousands of live events. ESPN Plus originals. The exclusive home of the complete 30 for 30 library. Exclusive access. Top leagues and tournaments. And the biggest names in the game. ESPN Plus. Live sports. Thousands of live events. ESPN Plus originals. The exclusive home of the complete 30 for 30 library. Exclusive access. Top leagues and tournaments. And the biggest names in the game. ESPN Plus. Live sports. Thousands of live events. ESPN Plus originals. The exclusive home of the complete 30 for 30 library. Exclusive access. Top leagues and tournaments. And the biggest names in the game. ESPN Plus. Live sports. Thousands of live events. ESPN Plus originals. The exclusive home of the complete 30 for 30 library. Exclusive access. Top leagues and tournaments. And the biggest names in the game. ESPN Plus. Live sports. Thousands of live events. ESPN Plus originals. The exclusive home of the complete 30 for 30 library. Exclusive access. Top leagues and tournaments. And the biggest names in the ESPN Plus. Thousands of live events. ESPN Plus original. The exclusive 30 for 30 library. Exclusive access. Top leagues and tournaments. And the biggest names in the game. ESPN Plus. Live sports. Thousands of live events. ESPN Plus originals. The exclusive home of the complete 30 for 30 library. Exclusive access. Top leagues and tournaments.